Let's just go ahead and dive into it. I gave my opinion on the iDubbbz apology video, same thing every single person in the world with a keyboard has done over the last 24 hours, and this isn't shocking new content for me. I pretty much opine on everything everywhere that happens on the internet, even if it's like fucking 30-year-old drama from an extinct MMO that I found on a subreddit last week. If I find it either entertaining or if I have a lot to say about it, I'll usually make a video on it just because I kind of treat my channel like a diary, so I vomit out my thoughts. And not everyone's going to agree with them. And people shouldn't agree with everything that I say, because everyone should be their own individual. For a long time now, I've said how dangerous I feel echo chambers are, so I've never wanted my channel to become one of those. And I don't think it has. I know people will disagree, but there's been plenty of instances over the years where I've said things that people disagree with. I think disagreeing with someone is extremely healthy and important. I wouldn't want a community that doesn't think for themselves and just blindly agrees with everything I say without giving it any thought of their own. And in this case, people have disagreed with my perspective on the iDubbbz situation. For those that don't know, I'll quickly break it down. iDubbbz made an apology video yesterday.
Yeah, and who were the people who agreed with you? Because the people who agreed with you kind of suck.
Where he talked about how deeply he regrets the content he used to make and how he views it as being just horrible, and that he's very sorry for all of the things that he put out there in the world and the pain that he caused through the content. And that's become a very divisive topic, and I gave my perspective on it. And since then, people have done some very uncharitable interpretations of what I've been saying, and I guess I can't really blame them. If I'm not abundantly clear with where I stand on things, I've learned that everything gets lost with ambiguity, and people run with the absolute most negative narrative they can find.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Yeah, that's pretty true. However, I'll just let him finish.
Wildest ways to
Because to be clear, I think we've all been pretty fair. I think I've been pretty fair. I think everyone in chat has been pretty fair. But I do agree that on the internet, if you say anything, there's always one freak that's like, oh, so basically you think people should give away their organs. That was just a terrible analogy, but you guys get the point.
Construe some statements. So I actually can't even be mad about that. I recognize that's my own shortcoming, and this is something that's happened in the past, where when I make a video, I know my intention. I know what I believe and where I stand. But you guys don't. You're not like a little ghost or a spirit over my shoulder that's watching me make a video or in my little noodle up here when I'm delivering my thoughts. Which means it's my responsibility to make my intentions known and clear. And I don't always fully convey it effectively. So I definitely think that's played some role here in how everything's been playing out with people talking about.
Thank you. He's being chilling. He's a very affectionate little boy. I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna beat you up. Thank you, Dragon Army, for the 21 months. Thank you. Denim. This guy's gonna get it. That's right. That's right, chat. Clip it and ship it.
Me on
Breeze, thank you for the gift sub.
Twitch and on Reddit and Twitter, but not fully. There's definitely going to be some people that are going to look like Eustace from Courage the Cowardly Dog when he gets that gel that he puts in his hair that makes him really mad and his eyes pop out of his skull and his head explodes, because there are just going to be some things that I believe that other people aren't, and that's okay. But what I don't appreciate and what really gets my ass twisted is people labeling me horrible things on a complete misunderstanding of what I actually believe. Or them just making up things that I believe, or putting their whole ass in my mouth and filling it with words that I've never said or even came close to trying to express. So let's get into it. By far the biggest thing I'm seeing from the online discussion around my video is people saying that I was attacking iDubbbz for trying to grow, and that I wanted him to stay in that 2016 edgy era. And my take was that of a 30-year-old man with a 15-year-old's brain who still giggles and loves edgy humor from yesteryear. When nothing could be further from the truth. A, I'm not 30. I'm 28 years old, and fucking shame on you, you disgusting swine, for insinuating that I'm pushing 30. I'm 28 years young. And B, It makes me feel like you didn't even bother watching the video because I don't know how that could even come across at all.
He's definitely getting one guide, by the way. He's definitely getting one guide. As someone who gets one guide a lot, he's definitely getting one guide. 28 is totally not pushing 30. Copium.
Quickly just play a small snippet from the end here, which I imagine a lot of people talking about this didn't even get to. So I really feel like throughout the video I made it clear that the edgy shit is lame and cringy. And that's something to absolutely regret. Now, obviously, times have changed, and he has changed. He's gotten older. He's in his 30s now. In your 30s, it's not exactly entertaining to just be spamming slurs for shock humor. I don't find that entertaining, and he doesn't either. So it's totally fine to want to distance yourself from making content like that. And that I was also supportive of him wanting to change and grow his content in a different direction. I still do respect that he didn't like what he was doing, so now he's doing something that he likes more. Even though it is coming at the risk of losing his audience, he'll find happiness in the content that he makes going forward, and maybe he's happier with the new audience that he potentially cultivates through all of it. So I had a whole section in the video about how important I find it that...
Okay, dude. Wow. Whoa. All right, we gotta address something really quickly. That was at the very end of your video, and that was like 30 seconds maybe. Okay? We just got to talk about that. That's all. I just think that that's an important detail. And the other 19 minutes were spent saying that iDubbbz doesn't need to apologize and be like, you know, publicly tomatoed or whatever.
Content creators branch out. Instead of just living in a niche and staying locked down by their audience and their expectations, how they shouldn't just keep doing a song and dance that doesn't make them happy. They should be trying to grow and change as a person and as a content creator and changing their content. I had a whole fucking section about that, talking about it outside of even just the iDubbbz perspective here. So I don't really know how that one got so fucked up here with this whole discussion around my video. The point of my video was never to attack the idea that someone growing and regretting things they've done in their past is a bad thing. I really thought I made that clear, but I must have missed the mark since so many people are saying that the whole core component of my video is to attack the fact that he's apologizing for personal growth and doing things that make him happy, which I never meant to convey, and if that's what came across, then I'm sorry that I missed the mark so drastically. I really feel like multiple times I called out that it's completely normal and fine to regret the shit you said in those videos and want to distance yourself from that content in general. Like, that makes a lot of sense. And
whoa, wait a minute. Maybe I misheard. Let's go back to the old video. I could have swore he said something else, but I don't want to paraphrase. He's missing the entire point. He's downplaying blatant racism with "it's not that bad." Yeah, I think that that's an important part as well. I'm trying to remember what he said. He said something like, "I don't think you should have apologized for Content Cop. Like, some of those people deserved it," or whatever. Or he said those people deserved it. So I think the reason why people thought... Okay, I think this is it.
Have been for a long time. Point is, he wasn't happy with the content he made or the person he was, and now he's trying to apologize for the videos he made. And I, once again, have to completely disagree with the way he looks at it. I feel like his perspective on it is very warped by the way the internet has evolved over the years. The way he talks about this content makes it sound like he used to fucking murder puppies for these videos, which it was never that extreme. I very much would consider it edgy. It was 2016 edginess in all of its glory. That was entirely the brand. And for its time, it lived peacefully, you know, content
okay,
like that.
Found it. This is the line. I don't think that these two opinions are congruent. I don't think you can say that you... And I understand that he's saying he might have missed the mark. I found the timestamp. Here it is.
But I don't think it was a mistake that he made those videos.
I think if you make the claim, I don't think it was a mistake that he made those videos, people are going to make the extra step and assume you are saying he shouldn't apologize. Because if he didn't make a mistake making the videos, what is he apologizing for? You only apologize when you make a mistake, yeah? I think it was that sentence that just like, obviously there are also lots of other things that might have made people think that, but I think that was it. I think that was the sentence. Because I do think a lot of those videos are a mistake. I think that the only videos I think he made that weren't mistakes were probably the ones against Keemstar and Leafy, because both of those people are complete pieces of garbage. But okay. Besides all of the downplaying, besides all the other things that Charlie said, I think that was the most important one. Also, his old unboxing videos. Yeah. Oh, Rice Gum as well. Yeah. Yeah.
I talked about him making different content that makes him happier and how that's great. Like, you should never feel like a prisoner to your audience to keep delivering something that doesn't make you happy. That was one of the broader talking points I used in that video, but people are acting like I never said that and that I wanted him to stay doing the same shit from 2016, which of course I was never arguing for. Now, the next biggest thing by far is me saying that I don't think the apology was warranted. Warrant maybe wasn't the right word, since that's the one a lot of people are really like underlining and highlighting and giving me an F on the book report for. So to explain what I meant, when I'm saying I don't think the apology was warranted, I'm saying I don't think him being a product of edgy internet culture is necessarily something that should have been weighing on his mind so heavily for the last fucking 7 years, that he's lived with this constant guilt, this burden on his shoulders, where he's feeling as though he created edgy internet culture. The way he talked about in this video really made me feel very bad for him, that he's had this kind of looming disgust at the man he used to be because he partook in edgy internet culture, which wasn't just him. His channel wasn't the genesis of edginess. He didn't create it. He was molded by it. Like fucking Bane.
Oh, no. Charlie, come on. No. But he didn't say that. He said that he can... Okay. Let me start over. Just because you didn't invent racism doesn't mean you can't apologize for participating in these shitty spaces. If you contributed to it, you're part of the problem. You should apologize for having been part of the problem. You know? Like, obviously, I don't think anyone thinks that Ian invented racism. I don't think anyone thinks that like Ian personally was the reason why people get called the N-word in COD lobbies. I don't think so. But I think he participated in the creation of the space, or he participated in like the proliferation of the space. And I think that that's bad. And I think he can apologize for that, even if he's not completely and entirely culpable. CEO of racism, yeah. Oh, Kendall's, thank you for the 5 months. Booper, thank you so much for the prime. Thank you.
From Batman. And I feel as though the content he used to make did have a message. He wasn't coming from a place of genuine hatefulness. I don't think he was ever like a real racist or an actual bigot. So
Ian was definitely part of my fall down the pipeline. Yeah, I believe that. Everyone knows Obama ended racism. Oh, that's actually true. Or do you want to stretch? Oh, stretch.
I don't think the apology's warranted. What I mean is, I don't think what he did was so damaging and scarring to the online space or individuals that for 7 years he's needed to carry this guilt where he felt obligated to finally apologize for it. If people really thought he held these racist, bigoted beliefs, I don't think many people would have been signing up for Creator Clash 1 and 2.
How is he missing the point? I'm so confused. No one is saying that he was racist. He's not even saying that he was racist. He's just saying that he engaged in racist behavior. Why is he still on this? That's so confusing. Oh, God. No one is saying that, like, Ian secretly all this time was like pro-segregation or something. He just made edgy jokes that were racist. And he thought that it was funny, and he thought it was just jokes. And then he realized it's not just jokes. And my jokes have real impact on the real world. Oh, dude, did he not see anyone criticizing him this way? I don't understand how Charlie missed this so hard. Ian literally apologized for the mistakes. Ian wasn't being a piece of shit, but he realized it had effect and apologized for the mistake. Yeah. I'm just so confused. I'm so confused how he saw criticisms of his original video and he saw people tell him, hey, this is question mark.
I was an old iDubbbz viewer, and his M-word usage was the only part of his content I didn't like. It didn't bother me as much as it should have, though. I personally never got anywhere close to actually falling down alt-right pipeline.
Yeah. Like, obviously, there were lots of, thank you for throwing out, there were lots of people who, like, watched Ian's content who weren't racist, you know? Like, I'm sure there are people in chat right now who watched Ian's content back then, and none of you were racist back then, and you still watch his content now, and none of you are racist now, but you might have said jokes that were harmful. Just because you make jokes about harmful shit doesn't mean that, like, you think anything actually racist. But the actions are important enough that the intention doesn't matter. Or, like, the impact is important enough that the intentions don't matter. You know? Obviously not me, chat, because I've never been problematic and I've never said anything wrong ever. But I know you guys make a lot of mistakes in life. But that's why you guys are here, so you guys can learn from me. Because I'm perfect, obviously, yeah. All right, let's get back to the video. I'm surprised no one like explained it to him clearly, or that he's still confused about this.
He didn't really understand the criticism that was given for his last video. He feels like he is defending his pride or feels attacked.
Yes. I agree. Damn, I wish I was I wish I had enough pull to get Charlie in a call and be like, why do you keep saying this? Why do you keep saying that he wasn't racist? Because no one is claiming that he was. Or the people that are claiming that he was, those people are morons. We don't address them. Because he's fixated on a point that doesn't matter. Like a point that's not relevant, which is so weird. All right, back to the video.
Too, right? Like, this is the first time he's publicly acknowledged it and fully apologized for it. He's, of course, talked about distancing himself from it on podcasts, but this is the first time he's really owned up to it publicly. But I think most people knew he wasn't, like, this evil, racist person. So what I was saying is I just don't think what he did gave a ton of people the impression that he really was a horrible, racist, bigoted person. Now, I used the word obligated to apologize just a moment ago. And that's what I went into the video thinking the motivation was. Like, you know, after all this time, people pointing out, like, the use of slurs in those videos have made them age fucking horribly. You know, this isn't acceptable. You know, it's time you own up to your past sins. That's what I thought it was. But after listening to what people have said since I posted my video and diving a bit more into, like, the actual discussion in general online, I failed to really understand that maybe iDubbbz also treated this video like a diary where he just wanted to get everything off his chest with how he feels about it. So I completely misunderstood what the motivation could have been for this video, and for that, I'm sorry. The goal wasn't to attack the whole idea of an apology for content you regret. That was never my intention. So if this is truly like a very personal thing where he wants to just finally move on from this, and in order to do that, he wanted to make this video publicly addressing how he feels about all of it, then that's totally understandable. That's absolutely understandable. And I may have had, like, the wrong lens of viewing the video in the first place, since I may have got the wrong idea about what was even driving the video to begin with. But now I do want to explain, I still do believe that iDubbbz was never a bad person for the content cops he made.
I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated. He keeps coming back to this point. Oh, he's just, what is he not getting? How is he not getting it? I'm so confused. I know he can get it. I know he can do it. Is it really just, is it all just like a defense mechanism? It has to be, right? I don't know what else it could be. I don't know what else it could be, because there isn't, I don't know. I don't understand. Bro, even Ian is ashamed of that shit. Why is he running defense? Defense, I can't understand. I'm so upset about this. This feels like a really basic, like, concept, and it's getting, like, lost. I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe that it's, like, a defensive mechanism, but I feel like it is.
That edgy shock humor was very much a 2016 trend. That whole era with slurs being used willy-nilly for cheap shock humor was not uncommon on the internet. And I don't know why people think that I'm trying to harken back to the glory days of being able to use a bunch of slurs all over the place. I've never fucking said that. I think in the last video, what gave people that idea is I said 2016 era shock humor in all its glory. So they thought that I was trying to celebrate the golden days or something. But I've never ever spoken support for that kind of edgy shit. I've always openly made fun of that whole idea. Even back in the era, I always found it pretty lame for the most part. So that might have just been a misunderstanding of my sarcasm when saying in all its glory in the last video, but I want to make that clear. But anyway, him using these slurs for cheap shock humor in the content cops is embarrassing and something to genuinely regret and look back on like, damn, I fucked that up. Absolutely. And I said that in the last video too. They were videos that were meant to criticize people that did deserve criticism. One thing iDubbbz said in his video that I still very much disagree with is that he made videos criticizing people based on lackluster reasons. I very much vehemently disagree with that. The people he did make content on were worthy of being criticized and called out for bad actions and being highlighted for horrible things they've done.
Yeah,
and
but the question is, did they deserve to continue to get harassed as much as they did?
Doing so, iDubbbz attempted to entertain his audience, and one of the ways he tried to entertain them was through this shock humor with his slurs. Like I said, his catchphrase being two slurs strung together is nothing to be proud of. So looking back on that component of content cops negatively and regretting that is a completely understandable and normal thing to do. Now, he did mention something that I also disagreed with initially, but after reading more, maybe I'm just too naive to really have a full grasp on it. I said that I don't think that content is indoctrinating, meaning I don't think him making those videos with the shock humor would lead to people thinking that all of a sudden it's okay to start using a ton of slurs, you know, in the real world or around people or in general, right? I didn't think that, but I also failed to recognize that in 2016, I was still in my fucking 20s, which is sad to think.
Wait. I want to go back.
Meaning, I don't think him making those videos with the shock humor would lead to people thinking that all of a sudden it's okay to start using a ton of slurs.
Okay, so it's not a defense mechanism. It's not projection. It's actually all just like privilege. It's actually privilege. Oh no.
You know, in the real world or around people.
To the person who said we already have buff men in every game, you need to learn about the female gaze, okay? Women are never talking about how much they want to have sex with Chris Redfield. You know who they're constantly talking about? Wanting to have sex with Leon Kennedy. Okay. It's a very, very different thing. It's a very different thing, okay? All right? Am I old? I don't know either of those people. It's Resident Evil characters. I feel like everyone knows those. Okay, wait. Anywho. Tramp stamp crop top Leon Kennedy. Made outfit Leon Kennedy pornhub.com. Oh gosh. Anyways. Moving on.
People or in general, right? I didn't think that, but I also failed to recognize that in 2016, I was still in my fucking 20s, which is sad to think that I'm basically a fossil now. I wasn't a child during this period, so I don't know what effect this might have had on younger viewers of his. Maybe I'm very wrong in that it did serve as...
Okay, well, at least he's opening the door for the potential to be wrong. I respect that.
like a fucking gateway drug into racism or something. That is possible. I don't know. And that's what a lot of people did point out that I think is a great point. I was already old enough to recognize that he was never advocating for legitimate racism or bigotry or anything like that. That was never his message. But younger people may not have picked up on that. So I do believe it is possible that he did have a very negative effect on how a lot of the youth perceived slurs and maybe the willingness to use them. That is possible, and I'm sorry that I didn't consider that angle. I failed to realize that I was still pretty fucking old when the content cops were, hitting the cyberspace. So obviously, if you inadvertently became a lightning rod for real racists, that's fucking horrible. Now, I do still believe that his Content Cop series was not a cruel series. Like I said, the whole message behind it was pointing out some horrible things that people have done, and you delivered a message of here's why that shit's bad, and you coded your message with things meant to entertain, but in doing so, you delivered some.
It's weird how Charlie talks about the impact on incel viewers and not the literal minorities on the internet. Of course he's going to. Of course he's going to do that. And it's because one of those things, he's way closer to one of those things than the other thing. It's kind of like, have you guys heard about people who say that we need to reach out and get Republican voters who they've just been misled into thinking that the Republican Party gives a fuck about them, and they don't. And we need to explain to them that, like, this class solidarity stuff that they want, it's on the left way more than it is on the right. And that those people, like, the left is closer to, like, salt of the earth, like, middle America than we are to liberals, because liberals still want to maintain the status quo. But there are a lot of conservatives that don't actually give a fuck about any of this, like, culture war shit, and they just want to be able to have a job again with job security and be able to, like, afford, like, eating food and going to the doctor. You know? I feel like it's similar to this here, where, like, the life or lived experience of being a minority on the internet is something that Charlie does not have, and he is nowhere near having. The experience of potentially being an incel is something that he probably knows much better. Not to call him, I'm not calling him an incel, or I'm not saying that he is an incel. I'm saying he was way more likely to experience inceldom than he would have been to experience, like, racism or sexism, obviously, right? So he's going to empathize with the group that is closer to him on, like, the oppression scale or whatever.
Some bad shit along the way with the edgy shock slurs that were thrown in so loosey-goosey throughout the content. But I don't think that changes the actual message of what the video meant to convey. And it was never a message of cruelty. It was always a message of these people.
I'm so sorry. I banned someone, but they are so... I thought they just sent the one message, but they sent a million other messages, and I have to bring it up because I have to laugh at them. Wait, look at this. Every single woman? I don't think so. Learn some jujitsu. What are you trying to say? Charlie is definitely a very intelligent and fair person. I need to watch this video to think for myself. You're not a woman, ? I feel like you're acting. That's called being a high T male who's expressing frustration. It's natural. Don't take it personally. Fake. How much they pay you to have this stance on Twitter? Oh my God. Oh gosh. Oh Lord. Being a safe labeled victim is simply disempowering yourself. This chat needs to hear this. It's not bad. That's just the game developers' take. I agree. It shouldn't be that way, but don't take it personally. It really seems like you're acting. You don't actually care that much. Look at this guy. Look, he can't understand the concept that like I can make jokes and also want social change. That I can call women hoes, but also think that we should respect women. He doesn't understand the concept of like reclaiming a word. That's okay, buddy. It's okay. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I know. It's okay. You're scaring the hoes away. Like, I don't care, like, what your stance is, okay, Chad? I think I proved to be like a leftist, and I very clearly try and make this space pro-leftist. But I also love saying, bro, you're scaring the hoes away. Because it's really funny. It's really funny. But you can say you're scaring the hoes away without being a misogynist while still being responsible with your platform. Leave my hoes be. I don't want them scared. I want safe and happy hoes. Yeah. Leftism equals no hoes. This lady is a paid actor. Dude, I wish I was, man. Like, I really could use the money. Like, I would appreciate it. I am like the poorest streamer. I swear, dude. I swear. It's because I do politics. No one wants to give me money because I do politics. This woman is so fun, isn't she? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark. She's offended by everything. Yeah, the person laughing isn't the one that's offended. It's the one sending an exclamation point, a
Here is your
question
payment
mark.
for the stance.
Thank you, Z. Oh, fuck, Soros. No, please. Rogue Stereo, thank you. Oh, thank you for the 11 months.
This is charity for Denims.
Oh, gosh. God bless you, sir. God bless you. I hope you have a good life, man. Oh, God. I love to expose fakeness. Me too, man. Me too. Me too. Good luck. I definitely recommend you screenshot these logs, sir, and take a look at them in like 5 years. You will have a different opinion, I promise. And if you don't, tell you what, email me and I'll send you $500 in 5 years. You just clip this right now, save it as a video, screenshot your logs. Here, I'll put them back on screen, okay? All right, here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and come back in 5 years. If you still think that you're right, I'll give you $500, okay? Promise. Pinky promise.
People are doing bad, and these are people in very influential positions who probably shouldn't be. I don't think that is a bad message. I don't think there's anything cruel about what you were aiming to do. Another thing that always comes up in situations like this is them saying, you cut out important details on purpose, maliciously leaving out information that's crucial. And I always hate that. Like, I'm not just gonna play the entire video and go through each and everything. I just played the ones that I really wanted to focus on for the general point that I was trying to get across, which was A, growing and changing your content is always a good thing, and it makes complete sense why Ian iDubbbz would regret the edginess from those videos and would regret some of the big components of those videos. Like, I don't understand how all of that got so mixed up. Like, yes, I do disagree that the content was cruel.
Fruity, thank you for the 4 months. Thank you. Also, Sanjay Tortitilo, thank you so much for the gift of Tansu. Thank you.
As I just explained. But the core message is still, changing is a good thing. Always has been, and I've always preached for that. Instead of just living in a niche forever and making yourself miserable doing the same thing forever, changing, growing as a person, and adapting is always great. And he had legitimate things to be regretful of. The edginess, the shock humor, inexcusably cringe, lame, not good. The remaining parts of his apology video were topics that I totally understood his perspective of. I totally got it. But none of them were...
Veggie. I do think I agree. I think it was Zindiani in chat. I agree. I don't think it's... I think maybe some part of it subconsciously might be that, like, he's defending his own previous actions. But I do think that the majority of it is that he just doesn't... The fact that he keeps referring to saying slurs as edgy humor, I think he just has, like, a blind spot here where he doesn't realize that shit is actually harmful. I think he genuinely, I also think that he's never been on the receiving act of like a lot of bigotry. Because when it happens to you, man, it fucking sucks.
What I was focusing on for what I was saying about the whole subject. For example, he mentions...
Also, I'm so embarrassed. We literally spent all stream on like just these 2 videos. I'm gonna like take some notes. I'm gonna try and figure out a way that we can get through more content, chat. Maybe I need to like go through the news articles in the beginning of the stream. Because videos stun lock me so hard. We need to like, I need to figure out what we're gonna do. We're gonna do something. I'll do a stream review and I'll try and figure it out. Because this is a problem. This is a problem where like by the time the stream ends, I haven't actually finished everything I wanted to finish. Or like I didn't get to it. And like today I promised that I would be going to the Ren Fair with Sabrina. Because I have never been to a Ren Fair before. And like I think next weekend is the last weekend to go. And we don't want to go the last weekend because we think it'll be really full. And it'll be too busy. So we're going to go this weekend. AKA today. So enjoy. It sounds awesome. I have like a little dress. I'm really excited to wear it. What's a Ren Fair? It's supposed to be like a Renaissance fair. Everyone dresses like medieval or something. I've never been, so I'm very excited. What are the videos on the top right? Is it like soap? It's like soap and like, I think like usually like shaving cream is what they use to do it. But let's finish this video.
Fan interaction where he met a couple fans and it helped him understand that, damn, my content is really giving people a certain vibe or a certain impression of me that just isn't true. So it helped like show him that there were a lot of things in the content that were regrettable, that he regretted. Like, I get that. Like, I totally understand it. And I didn't exclude them from my video as a way of like...
And this is totally true. People used to call me sensitive for saying that Tana... I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Content Cop was pushing it at the time. Yeah, I agree. I think like there's a fine line between criticism and harassment. There's a very fine line. Mojo? It's just like Mojo? Oh, okay. And I think that you can criticize people and be like, hey, this is not good, without it turning into a dog pile against this person.
Manipulating a narrative or trying to hide it or anything. They were just things I totally understood, but they weren't part of like the overall talking point that I was trying to discuss. In the last video, I mentioned that I didn't feel his content created the weirdo losers that disregard the message of the content and instead focused on just the slurs, right? Like a bunch of like actual bad actors who are just there to celebrate the fact that iDubbbz would say the bad words, the real off-limits stuff, the slurs. That's all they cared about. I said I have no doubt that those community members exist, but I didn't think his content created them. You know, I felt like, you know, like bacteria, they just happened to already be there and then found his content and then found a home there to keep celebrating that shit. But just like I mentioned a little while ago, I'm most likely wrong about this. I saw the content when I was in my 20s. I could see the satire in it. I assume the majority of other people could, but I didn't even take into consideration that a lot of the viewers were younger, and there's a very good chance that this content was their first exposure to it, and it may have led to them
What is this? Okay. He's done this twice now, where he makes like an entire video, and the entire video is like, he keeps touching on the wrong points, and then at the end of it, he touches on the right point. That's so bizarre. He should have made this the beginning of the video. Oh my God.
becoming those weirdo losers.
So weird.
Not necessarily that the weirdo losers had always existed since the beginning of time and then just found his content. There is a very high likelihood that it also just created that atmosphere with those kind of audience members as well, which is something iDubbbz would obviously want to distance himself from. I think that was most of the things people were talking about in relation to my video on the subject, so hopefully I cleared up any misconceptions about where I stand or what I believe. And I'm sorry if things got real lost somehow. I want to make it clear once again, I was never attacking iDubbbz for apologizing for regretting his content or for wanting to change and grow and do different things. I really thought I voiced support for those things, but I must not have done it effectively. So that's on me, and hopefully this gave all of my perspectives on it much more clarity. That's about it. See ya.
What is satirical about saying racial slurs? I I don't know if I would consider it satire, but I think it's just like the idea is supposed to be, look at how insane this would be if you just said slurs and then you say one. It's like, what?